voice, or has Duolingo lost its voice? The whole idea would be to surprise you with an hour earlier this Thursday. Normally, we do it at 1 o'clock Indian Standard Time. But we just thought we'll surprise you so that maybe you can digest your lunch after listening to us, right?
And we decided to prepone our voice.
We decided to prepone our voice. That's even better, Janvi. I should have thought of that one. I should have thought of that one. Okay, but what we've heard today, Janvi and I were just speaking about, how we will introduce this topic to you. It's all about Duolingo and how Duolingo has kind of seen that one of its internal memos has been leaked about how AI is going to replace employees. Now the issue would be, how do you tackle that, and what is Duolingo all about? Is Duolingo's situation precarious because of this, or is there a deeper problem that maybe Duolingo is facing because of this whole AI thing? And can storytelling help, right? Can a good old story rescue Duolingo? So we are going to explore a lot of that. But Janvi, why don't you set us up with everything around the context?
Yeah, so I think half of the challenge you've already set up, where the Duolingo CEO,
Yeah.
He had shared an internal memo where they had decided they'll be rolling back on the human personnel in accordance with the growing or evolving AI integrations within Duolingo. Now the problem with that was, I think, mere weeks after them rolling this out, the AI courses that Duolingo had rolled out did not meet the mark that the consumers are used to when it comes to Duolingo. So they found them repetitive. They found them, not up to the usual mechanics that Duolingo is famous for. And then they rolled back their internal memo where they realized that the human personnel is very important to the Duolingo team, as they call them, the duos.
Wow, the duos have now doubled their power. I don't know what to say, but but the thing is, just let me know one thing. So
Yeah.
the AI didn't work. So this was very badly managed, right? So clearly they should have tried this out and figured out whether it's working before replacing employees. What was it that is, let's say, the hidden meaning behind a story like this? What do you reckon?
Yeah. So first of all, Duolingo isn't the only company. Several companies have been going
Yeah,
the hiring route. But recently there was this company, Klarna, that had fired 700 employees and then rolled them back almost immediately once they
yeah,
realized I was not cutting it. IBM did the same with 8,000 employees, right? So it's not the first time where companies are realizing that they are delving into the AI bubble way too soon.
hmm,
Uh, now the problem is everybody believes AI to be some sort of magic, that everything can be taken up by AI. You don't need the human brain anymore. What they're not realizing is that AI works on a tokenization system, and tokens will only work out if there is some existing data in the system, or if there is some existing mechanics in the system. Now
yeah.
companies like Duolingo, that there are several language learning apps, but why Duolingo made the mark, the kind of billions that it made, that other companies have not even been able to make a brand out of their own name, right? It was it can be the human angle, but it was more of the product mechanics, the gamification, the kind of product features that came out. For example, the video call with Lily feature that is available to the max subscribers. Now those kind of features is something that AI cannot invent right now, or AI cannot think of at the moment. And these are the features that have set Duolingo apart, or have set it growing on its journey day by day with kind of feature rollouts that we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, both of us are fans of Duolingo, and you yourself have waxed eloquent about how wonderful Duolingo is in one of our earlier earlier episodes, right? And I'm just wondering, right? I'll give you a conspiracy theory hypothesis over here, and the conspiracy theory hypothesis is that the trend that I am seeing is a lack or reduction in demand for something like Duolingo from casual users who say that they don't want to learn a language now because AI can very quickly translate.
Hmm.
So, which essentially means there's a loss of use cases for Duolingo, which means that there is pressure for them to actually manage that profitability that you are talking about, which means that they will need to be very aggressive about letting employees go, which means that they will need to hasten their AI, which means that the employees had every chance to get really irked with their CEO, who has been this champion and has done TED talks and everything like that, and now suddenly is becoming or speaking a different language. So this is my conspiracy theory. What do you think?
Okay, so a little facet to it.
Okay.
Uh, the people who have been learning language from Duolingo,
Yeah.
generally it is believed that these are the people that are going for some tests or require a job in those countries, etc., etc. Now, if you look at the kind of languages that
Mm.
you are learning on Duolingo, that
Yeah.
Duolingo itself has published, they are not languages like German or French that are the only languages dominating the ecosystem.
Yeah.
The reason that Duolingo is coming out with the Somalian language and kind of these languages that nobody for with a career aspiration would learn
Right.
in their life, right, is a very good indication that people are not not using Duolingo for enhancement, but more for their casual learning. Now, with AI coming into the picture, people are getting more free time because half of the manual labor that they were doing in their lives is getting automated because of AI or other automation tools. Now they have time as their luxury to spend on things that they really like to do. Now, I actually try to learn Spanish from GPT too, right?
Okay.
In tandem with Duolingo, and I found that the kind of mechanics that Duolingo uses creates a habit forming product that makes me want to come back to Duolingo again and again. Even when I am tired at the end of the day, we are working so hard, you and I, right? But even when I'm exhausted at the end of the day, before the clock hits 12, I know that I need to do at least one lesson of Duolingo to complete my streak. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the point systems, etc. It is more to do with the pride that Duolingo has created within me.
Can you
Like,
speak Spanish though?
a little bit. I'm still in the A1 level.
That is the truth or dare test, right? No, the reason why I'm asking is I'm trying to understand. Okay, so if I have to look at Duolingo and its North Star, okay, and the way in which its North Star has been compromised with this memo, it is around learning, it is around neuroplasticity, it is around taking people on a journey towards learning new language and all of that. I think it has been compromised because its values have been compromised.
Yeah,
So at a deeper level, so if I have to look at this trend and why has it become such a hoo-ha when so many people are getting rid of employees and stuff like that, I think it has become such a big thing because its core values and the storyline that it has in the marketplace for people like you and me who are its fans has been compromised. And
yeah,
because that has been compromised, you are suddenly it becomes a big thing. So what we are recognizing is how deep values lie and how deep values actually make a product or make a brand or make a story even.
yeah.
And what I think we are seeing is the unraveling or the maybe a little the story getting frayed at the edges, at least as
Right.
far as Duolingo is concerned. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Absolutely. And not just the story, but the persona itself. The
Mhm.
North Star is compromising the persona. The reason that I was talking about the casual learners is because Duolingo seems to be going for, or seems to be believing that their persona is people who want a career enhancement. These
Ah,
these people might actually foray into the AI thing, or might believe that they don't need to learn a language because AI will help them. But what at least what we have seen in general, this is not the persona that is coming to Duolingo, because people who need a career enhancement, they need a certificate for their jobs to show that they are either at the C1 or B2 levels of any particular language to apply for a job or to apply for the visa, right? The Duolingo scores have absolutely no bearing on a certification or any formal education
sure.
or formal career enhancement. So it's very obvious that the people who are flocking to Duolingo are the casual learners, right? If you keep this persona in mind, then shifting to AI is an absolute blasphemy. right? Because these are the people that need a human connection, not just a social connection, but more of a human behavioral psychology, where a human can only understand what will make a human come back to the app or keep on learning, or learn that make them learn more efficiently or faster. AI cannot do that. AI will only give you what is already there.
You know what is interesting is that you have identified a persona which seems to resonate with you, me, and so many others. I wonder why Duolingo is actually taking a look at the persona that is trying to learn a new language without a certification in order as its primary use case, right? So it's a question of the case of the missing persona, or the case of the mistaken persona, right? If we had a detective novel around it. Now, it's quite likely that maybe their casual personas are not such a big market in terms of whatever they're trying to do, and
Yeah,
that is perhaps weighing down. Maybe the north star is weighing down upon the values, because
yeah,
the persona is a problem. And this reminds me of the stuff that we spoke of maybe a couple of episodes before, wherein how horses went from transportation to hobby, right?
yeah,
So obviously the use case is reduced for horses, or obviously there was lesser demand for horses, and it's quite likely that Duolingo, if it was mistakenly pursuing the first persona, is going to have the same problem, which
yeah.
might make it unprofitable, which might make it lose employees, which might make it go to AI, which again compromises on the product. So they seem to be stuck in some sort of weird loop, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, agreed, agreed. And coming on to your first point, right? I actually think that Duolingo is trying to shift the personas, because they have started evaluating their scores against the CEFR
Uh,
scores and all, right?
yeah,
And they've forayed into English as English certifications in comparison with IELTS and TOEFL exams,
yeah,
etc. Right now the question is, now coming to this point, right? Duolingo is famously a very fun kind of an app.
yeah.
Now, if it is foraying into a formal education, then that fun and formal thing, they don't go hand in hand. If they're trying to shift, maybe they should take the shift slowly, or they should stick to their north star, where this is an app that has been created for fun, and they should try to figure out how to make those casual players, casual users, into better players. Now, if you look at the casual gaming apps as compared to say a Genshin Impact or a PUBG or whatever, if you look at Candy Crush, it is making $1.4 billion a year.
Yeah.
Even after it was launched in 2012, officially launched in 2013 on Android, and it has even after 11 years, 12 years, it is one of the most top grossing apps in the world.
Hmm.
Right? And that is in comparison with the competitive gaming apps.
Yeah,
Now, if a casual game where people don't need to pay,
yeah.
right, can makes more amount of money over competitive apps, where there will be a peer to peer competition that will make you pay, then why can't a learning app for casual players use the same kind of model, where they've already gone from the freemium model to the subscription model. They already have the addiction and the adoption, not only of the early users, but even the laggards have come to Duolingo now. So I think this is the point where Duolingo should again recalibrate and see what exactly does it want its North Star to be, and then the brand needs to be repurposed according to that persona, according to that North Star.
Yeah, so I was wondering what the story for Duolingo is really going ahead. Now, it really depends upon whether they're changing what their persona is, whether they're recalibrating their market size. It has to align with its values. I think those values, they cannot change overnight. The core value that they represent. My feeling is somewhere the story has to be exactly the opposite that they are being famous for right now, which is Duolingo has to actually focus on how they are deeply human, right?
Hmm.
And actually how that deeply human part of Duolingo, because if I look at it, when I'm learning a language, and the reason why you were trying to stay up, besides the dopamine rush and besides the fact that you're a little crazy, the fact is that the reason why you are doing it is because you want to go through the process, the journey,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So now this directly connects with your hero's arc. Okay,
Hmm.
your hero's arc is something which starts off by looking at a challenge, and then there's this win, and then there's this dopamine rush, and then you feel that, and then you sleep, right? So, or whatever it is. So you have this storyline which is already working for you. And it's quite possible that Duolingo actually needs to talk about how human it is. And rolling back its AI thing is not enough. I think what it needs to do is take a stand on what it is all about. And it is not about AI, and it should literally, for their sake, talk about this counter trend of being deeply human. What do you think?
And not just talk about it, their product features should showcase it. Now, for example,
Yeah.
if one very good thing that Duolingo can take, a direction that Duolingo can take, is something that apps like HelloTalk or Tandem have
Yeah.
tried to do, right?
Yeah.
Which is a social to social connection. They've tried that with video call with Lily kind of feature, but it's still more of an AI driven
It
feature,
is.
right?
It is.
If the same thing happens with a social network, it will actually become a network effect. Your casual player roll it out as a freemium model for some time and then make it a paid thing, right? Why won't people hop on to talking to people in Spain? Why
Yeah.
wo- People are making money? Casual games are making money from social features.
Yeah, no,
Why
I'm,
not a learning app?
I'm completely with you. Here's what I'm learning, January, from our discussion. I think all the ducks need to be lined up in a row.
Yeah,
So when we are talking of the North Star, what is Duolingo's business goal? Or then when we look at what their core values are, okay, or then when we look at their persona, and then we look at what's the context that we are actually looking at. Then we are
yeah,
looking at what the story arc can be like, what the challenges are for the story arc. If any of these are not aligned with everything else, you're going to have a fake ass sounding story,
yeah.
or you're going to literally be bleeding market share, or something like that, right? Or somebody else is going to eat your lunch. I think there's a lot of lessons to this,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, and I think this is a pit that the companies are digging for themselves, not just Duolingo, but I think most of the companies today, everybody has this FOMO effect of hopping on a trend. First it was with Instagram, then it came with TikTok, now it's coming with AI and whatnot, right? What companies are not realizing is you should have one North Star. You
Yeah.
should have your vision, mission. You should have your persona. You should have your storyline,
Yeah.
and your product, your marketing, your sales, everything. All of these three buckets should align, like you said, with all of those ducks. Now, those trends need to be leveraged.
Yeah.
Those trends are not the gravy train that you hop on. Those trends are the train that you make it stop on your station. How
I
do
love
you do
it.
that?
I'm I'm going to shamelessly use this quote again. The trends are not the train. I love it. I love it. The trends are not your gravy train. Okay. I think we can't get better than this, Janavi, for this episode. For this episode. Well done, you. All right. So Duolingo has lost its voice, but maybe it will come back, I would say.
I
And
hope it.
maybe it will come back if it's got its all of its ducks lined up in a row. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.